What's up, guys? It's Tanner with OBO, and I'm excited to present another HubSpot Plus video to improve your stack through HubSpot apps, features, and processes. So today is going to be all about call recordings and transcriptions. And we're going to go over a couple of different things. We're going to look at the transcript itself, how to make inline comments, how to look at the statistics, how to look at the insights, how to add them to playlists, how to share them, and what to do with all of these different parts and pieces of the puzzle. So real quick, what is conversation intelligence? It's kind of a convoluted word these days. In this sense, for HubSpot, it's talking about creating the transcription. It's talking about the statistics and the insights and the analysis for all of the call recordings. So it records the call, and then after that, the conversation intelligence will generate summaries. It'll look at the statistics of who's talking and how long they're talking for, and then it'll look at the insights of what tracked terms you talked about, and it'll give you a good idea of what the call is actually about, so that you don't have to spend hours and hours and hours going through and reviewing all of these calls every day. So just a thing to note, you must have Sales or Service Pro to have conversation intelligence. And you'll have to have a super admin account to make any changes to any of these tracked terms or statistics or playlists or anything like that. You'll have to be a super admin or at least have permission to do so. So if you can't do it, might want to talk to your admin or see what kind of permissions you have. So the last thing I want to mention before we jump in is the Zoom call transcriptions will look a little different than the phone call ones. And it basically just looks like the Zoom video call you would see on their website, on their calls when you review something. I'm sure you've seen those before. It's that whole framework just placed inside of HubSpot. That's all it is. Okay, so let's dive in. First things first, I want to show you this main section right here. So what you'll notice is you'll have Tanner Green and then Taylor Brown. And so these orange pieces are the times where I, as the sales rep, was talking, Tanner Green, and the purple times is where Taylor Brown was talking. As you can see, I talked 69% of the time versus 31. So, that's kind of a lot. So I left a comment here saying, hey, Tanner, you actually were talking a little too much in this conversation. So Tanner gets a notification saying, hey, your boss made a comment on this and gave you some insight on how to improve. So if you notice, this timestamp right here will actually, if you click on it, go straight to where I left the comment. So when you actually leave a comment, like let's drag it over here, I'll leave another comment here. If you notice, it moved in both the transcript side and inside of this main section here. And now the timestamp is at 34 seconds. So I can kind of go through these timestamps inside of my comments that I leave to see what I'm talking about and where it is. And you can leave the same comments in this section here within the transcript, and you can even share it. So let's go into the sharing piece. You can share it with any person you want in your team. Send the email to them, and you can put the start and the end wherever you want to give them the clip of what you want them to listen to with a message saying. So it's basically just a comment, but you're sending it to them and you're sharing it with them, so then they can go in and actually listen to that specific piece without having to go inside of HubSpot. They can just grab it directly themselves. So I'll click that share, it'll send that over to Tanner Green, and it will be able to link this specific section and only have this one little clip that you shared and sent over. So that same piece lives up in this section. You can share it. It'll actually be the same exact modal that you'll notice here in the same iframe, and you can change this however you want. You can be the whole clip, you can be just a tiny one, whatever you want it to be. That's pretty much everything on how to write inline comments. Let's move on to the statistics piece. So in this section, what you'll see is the call owner talk time, talk speed, so if you're talking too fast or too slow, the longest monologue, which is probably this big guy right here, the longest customer story, and then the interactivity is how many times the conversation switched between the rep and customer per hour. So how often are you going back and forth? And then the last one was patience. So between the customer speaking and the rep, how often is that pause in between? But those are the stats you can look at for these calls. I actually don't know if they're planning to do more stats or different ones. That's something I can get back to you guys on and maybe leave a comment in below. But those are what we got so far. Another thing I want to show you are the tracked terms. I don't actually have any tracked terms right now, so I'm going to create a category. I'm going to do a test category, a track term here. Maybe we'll do sales, and we'll add that one, and then maybe we'll do marketing, and we'll add that one, and we'll leave it at that. And so we're going to save this. Now, as you can see, I have one reference of sales and one reference of marketing. And if I click on this, it'll pull it up inside of the comments. I'll actually be able to go straight to that timestamp and see, okay, this is exactly where Taylor talked about sales and marketing. And so you can get pretty fancy with these tracked terms, and you can add a bunch of categories, and it can be super valuable for when you're looking for specific information, specific product lines, or specific conversations about pricing. Like whatever the world is your oyster in this one. It's actually really cool to play around with. Really what you guys want to look for in these terms is how it's going to benefit your ROI, and say, are they talking about pricing yet? Where is it in the conversation? When is it in the conversation? And then you can really dive a little bit deeper into those terms. Those are when it's really helpful. There's a bunch of use cases you can have. Finally, we're going to go over here. Okay. And we're going to go over here now to the notes and the call summary. So the call summary, you just click this little call summary button. It'll talk to you about what just happened in the call. Am I happy with it or not? I don't know. I haven't read it yet. And in aligning their sales and marketing teams, they schedule a call for next Tuesday at 2 o'clock with consultant Jeff. That's perfect. I mean, that's exactly what happened in the call. You can also regenerate the call summary. This one's great, so I'm not going to, but you can regenerate it if you want to. So here in this section, associations and participants, oftentimes if you make a call and you don't have anybody associated with it, it'll say like speaker 2 or something like that. And you can click the link. It'll have a link. This one's unlinked because Taylor Brown is linked to it. But if there's nobody linked to this call, you can actually click the link, search for a contact, or create a new contact if you need, and then it'll actually make that association once more. And you can make other associations like tickets or deals to tie it even closer to your HubSpot instance, so everything is closely related. Okay, lastly, I'm going to show you the add to playlist section. So you can actually create a new playlist. I'm not going to, but this is something similar. It's basically the same thing as sending it to one of your colleagues saying, hey, this was a great section right here of going over the pricing page or going over this particular objection. And you can send that in the playlist and use it as coaching calls and say, oh, this is the perfect example that Tanner used with Taylor during this call to talk about the objection of pricing. And you can throw that straight into the pricing playlist and everyone can listen to it. They can read the transcript. It'll pull out the clip, exactly what it is, and then they can copy it and use it and study it and practice it. So that's everything for the call recording and transcript section. Let me know if you guys have any questions. If you'd like me to go a little bit deeper into conversation intelligence tools like Gong, Avoma, or Grain, and analyze the difference between all of them, leave a comment below. I'd be happy to help you guys out and give you the differences between all of those conversation intelligence tools. So that's it. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to follow us for more tips on how to get the most out of your HubSpot. I'm Tanner with OBO. I'll see you guys next time.